मगर इस देश रहना चाहिए, इस देश का लोकतंत्र में रहना चाहिए.
You can do one Mumbai, you may lose Balochistan.
2, 1, 0. S139 motor.
This man is a horrible man. He must be shunned.
To count. Our job is to hit the target, not to count the body bags.
हेलो सर, वेलकम बैक टू द शो वंस अगेन. अच्छा लगता है आपके साथ पॉडकास्ट करने के लिए. एंड आज हम टूलकिट के बारे में बात करेंगे, जो कॉकरोचों का मतलब प्रोटेस्ट हुआ था.
जंतर मंतर,
सो कॉल्ड,
the hot topic.
हाँ, सो कॉल्ड तिलचट्टे जो है, तो उनका पॉडकास्ट उनके बारे में हम पॉडकास्ट करेंगे. हम भी कंटेंट मार ले थोड़ा सा, ठीक है.
Yes, but I feel we'll not get into political, and we'll get into more into what technology was used and how these, revolutions or regime change operations are done using technology. So that we'll
Exactly.
discuss today, and it's a very interesting
Exactly.
topic.
Exactly. This is like how people are trying to disrupt the protest and things like that. Like
Yes.
how
Without
how
the
the
government agencies interfering in their process.
yes,
Without,
yes. How they are being disrupted.
yes.
So let's actually go to that one, right?
Yes. Like,
So first, from a national security angle, right, and the technology angle. So where is the technology intersecting with this aspect of things? There is a lot of things to be discussed, but primarily speaking, we are going to talk about the solidarity toolkit, so-called, which was used by the protesters during the Jantar Mantar protest, which happened. All of these sources are from government notices and whatever the on X or Twitter we are able to see the business leaders or entrepreneurs or the tech bros are talking about what's going on. So you can see everything is in open source.
and what we are going to discuss is how tech
That
was
is this.
leveraged to get into these various, small revolutions, regime change operations, or protests which are happening with technology, leveraging the entire operation. So I think in agenda we'll first discuss what is decentralized communication. Then we'll
Yes.
talk about BitChat, which was primarily used in this Jantar Mantar, NEET protest. And I4C order, stated security concerns, solidarity kit. We'll talk something about the toolkit. We keep hearing the toolkit, process, public discourse, and what Jack Dorsey, who has created BitChat, what he had to say, and broader implications on our national security. That will be our, outline of this podcast.
That's right. So to begin with, we are going to talk about the fundamentals of this decentralized communication, what it is. So, sir, please.
Yeah, I think this is a topic of my expertise. My PhD is in this. So basically, if you see all the architectures of cellular or any telecom architecture, is the centralized model, the one which is on the left, wherein the messages are routed through central servers. So first, if you see, if you want to, get your mobile connection, so first you have to go to a telecom service provider and get a SIM card, and that SIM card, and you have to give some of your database, some identification proof like Aadhaar or license. And what happens is, your in the central data server, your credentials are added into the metadata, and you are given the rights to use the network. And then once you get that and you are authenticated, your number is given, the MSRN number or the mobile number is given to you. Thereafter, you get logged on into the network. The network accepts you if your credentials are okay through the IB list and everything. If you're not your Aadhaar card and your database doesn't represent any anti-national element or element which is not prohibited, which is prohibited by the government to get into public networks, then you're allowed to go into the network. And once you go into the network, all your activities, your messages, your your call logs, everything is there in the central database, and that is maintained in the metadata of the service provider. Whenever the information bureau or any the government agency who wants to monitor, they have the right to take your call logs and your entire how you have used the phone, the network, in what time, what was the place, GPS location, can be asked, and the service provider is deemed to provide to the central government. So lawful interception is possible by a proper legal process. single point of failure and control is also there. But as of now, this point is very redundant because all the networks have redundant network layers. So point of failure is generally not there. Examples are WhatsApp, Signal, Telegram, your normal calls, your messages. Now let's get to the next type of model, which is the decentralized model. It is so all your 4G, 5G, 3G, your optical networks, your satellite networks, all are centralized model. The right side, the decentralized mesh model, is where you don't need a fixed architecture. So every device can directly communicate to the device. You don't need a cellular tower, you don't need a fiber, you don't need a satellite communication. You just, if I am a device, so device intelligence is very important here. The device can be dumb on the left side, but on the centralized model, and the entire intelligence in the server. But here, the intelligence has to be there in the device oblique the application to ensure that the message passes to the other. And how it is done? It is through cooperative communication. Cooperative communication means that the source is here, that destination is here, and if they're not in communication, there will be a bridge, or there'll be a central person who can, like you want to throw a ball, you may not reach a guy who's quite far. What you do, you have a person who can just relay it, catch it, not use it, but send it to the other person. So that is how decentralized mesh models work, device to device. So it is cooperative. People cooperate to reach to other places. You don't need a central server and central, architecture, telecom architecture. Here, there is no requirement registration. You don't need an Aadhaar card. You don't need any license. You don't have to request any telecom service provider who has a. And but the problem here, limitation is just concerned to located to a small location, and there is no central level. And further, there is no operator logs. No government can intervene and find. There is no interception. There is no lawful or unlawful interception. It is very hard, and examples are BitChat, Briar, and Bridgefy. So this slide tells you what are the various types of model. So any legal communication is generally through the centralized model. The decentralized model gives you an option of having a communication in a small area. The area cannot be large as a 5G or 6G network, but it will be in a small network, but it has certain hidden advantages. We'll discuss that.
So let's go to the next slide. Right?
Yeah. So the
Okay.
BitChat is one of the example what we'll discuss today. What are the various? See, you have to communicate. If you're not using a SIM and the 5G antenna in your phone, you can use your Bluetooth, which is inbuilt in the phone. You can use your Wi-Fi. Now for BitChat messages, so what you do, you download the BitChat app, and you can message device to device over BLE up to 7 hops. That means 7 different people who already have a BitChat loaded can help you relay the message to the receiver. So if Parth is there within that Jantar Mantar complex, and everybody in the Jantar Mantar complex have this BitChat in their phone, till 7 hops, Parth, a message can be sent to Parth, even if he's 7 hops away. And Bluetooth has a low, coverage area, 10, maybe 4 or 5 meters at the most. So point is that everybody, that's why in all these toolkits they say everybody should load the BitChat app, and they will utilize your Bluetooth, antenna in your phone, or Wi-Fi. If, Wi-Fi is not here, but in this case Bluetooth, to transmit the message from one person to the other. There are no central servers, so there is no legal process. The government cannot understand that you're running. Basically, you're running a network in a place without anybody knowing, without the public knowing or the government agencies knowing. There'll be end-to-end encryption. All the best encryption which is possible can be. It is like WhatsApp, but working on Bluetooth without the telecom service provider. There are no. You don't need to register. Anybody can just download the app from the store, Play Store, or Apple Store, and then you just put in your mandatory email and registration processes, and you're done. The app is only sole authority to register. There's no government agency or the service provider which is doing. So Bluetooth mesh for local offline. So it's a dual transport back to protocols, Nostr protocols where internet is available. So you can also fall back to the internet also if required. So I can use my Bluetooth small mesh to mesh network, peer-to-peer network, or if there's an internet available, I can go for a long haul. So there's one. So if it is a nationwide protest, one in Jantar Mantar, one in Calcutta, Delhi, Calcutta, Bombay, Chennai. Within Delhi in Jantar Mantar, I can use this BitChat, and BitChat can use wherever it finds an internet, reaches using the telecom infrastructure, and again goes to Calcutta protest site, or Delhi protest site, or Chennai protest site, without the government agency or the centralized architecture knowing that there is a net. It is just using that pipe, internet pipe. So that's why dual transport is there, and it is open source. So you don't have to worry who take any permission from any government agency, and the police or government will not be knowing that you are running this network. So, source code and Android builds publicly hosted repository targeted by the order. Okay. Next slide. So when this Jantar Mantar happened and the government agencies realized that this BitChat is being used by protesters, because they were not able to understand how this suddenly swell of crowd happened. 400 before this 20th March to the parliament, the crowd strength was only 400, 500. But suddenly the swell happened. Thousands kaise aa gaye? Because through their BitChat, through the toolkit, we'll discuss the toolkit also later. Suddenly people started gathering, and this what should I, swarm of people started coming to the place. And that's when on 23rd, the Indian Cybercrime Coordination Center, I4C, under the Ministry of Home Affairs, issued this order that these BitChat has to be banned. 3 hours to comply. The legal order is also mentioned. The notice number is mentioned, and target was GitHub, where the repository is there, and this app is stored. It should be stopped. It should be not put to use anywhere in India. Next slide. So what was the order? That GitHub was directed to remove or disable access to 3 specific repositories within 3 hours: main BitChat source code repository, BitChat Android repository, and Android release files and distribution page.
This
The
means APK.
non-compliant,
Usually, whatever the
yeah,
APK files are there for Android users to install, this is what we are talking about.
and it also said that the non-compliance order, loss of safe harbor protection section. So there was also non-compliance order. If you don't order, then we can take legal action against you under the IT Act 2000 and other IT rules as mentioned in the view file. Next slide.
And this is because GitHub is considered as a intermediary. That is, they are
Yes.
purely just hosting the software, so they are just directed to take it down. That's what it is.
Okay.
So going to next one.
So what are the security concerns articulated in I4C notice? So this GitHub and peer-to-peer mesh network actually impedes lawful interception. Anonymous communication without registration, without phone verification, no centralized logging, nobody knows what calls, what messages were dancing. So lawful interception is stopped. It is circumventing the entire process which the government has installed for use of telecom services in India. It can be misused for evade lawful surveillance, protests like Jantar Mantar or any other future process, any toolkit where the deep state wants to create problems in India or any other country. Facilitate anonymous coordination. So, okay, anonymous, nobody will know who is coordinating, who is doing. There'll be small groups through BitChat, and they'll organize all these protests. So public riots, terrorism, this can be used for so many things. Wherever interest, what government does generally, if there is a riot or if there is a problem, इवन इन दिल्ली इंटरनेट बंद कर दो, टेलीकॉम सर्विसेज बंद कर दो. आप इंटरनेट बंद भी कर दोगे, बट थ्रू GitHub and through the Bluetooth antennas, I can still have my messaging, and I've created my mesh to peer-to-peer
And
network.
primarily, the main reason why people were using BitChat from GitHub and everything is because it was, or the telecom providers were effectively denying their networks from being used in the Jantar Mantar area
Yes.
by jamming or some other means like that.
No, what happens is generally what happens whenever there is a government, issue orders from DOT oblique PIB that there may be some anti-national elements, or there may be some riots, or even in Kashmir. So that area, so those many towers are deactivated. You may get a network also, but it will not go. The process of getting your calls routed and transmitting the messages stops. So you say internet services have been stopped for certain duration, and when the government feels, it says okay, now activate. So governments control the network, telecom service. Here the government is not controlling. Even government has banned. It has done a blackout of the internet and telecom services, but still your network is running. You don't depend. All the anti-national element protesters are using this. So that is the hidden advantage of such a network, mesh network. So misuse is very possible, and it was what happened in Jantar Mantar and many other protests worldwide. Dissemination of misinformation, radicalization, criminal conspiracies, activities. So all these things can be done. Defense and security. There can be certain sabotage of certain important VIP areas, attack on VIP areas. These can be done. There is no service provider. Since there is no service provider, there is no central database. And subscribe information, who used it, how it was planned, nothing can be retrieved by the government agencies. Next slide.
So
This
I can
already
talk a little bit
you
about
can
this.
discuss. Yeah, you can discuss this.
On X or Twitter, there was a shutdown toolkit built by a GitHub user, and his GitHub profile is listed. So what they had done is that they were trying to tell people like how to evade lawful detection by the police, and like if the network gets shut down, how to get around with offline maps, and if police will detain you, what you should do and everything. So all these different things that they were doing, like what are the so-called privacy rights or whatever that are there, like you know the kind of way that this was put up, like this toolkit was put up, it was not really to educate people, but more in a way to try to help them defend themselves against the
Educate in the
lawful
wrong
orders.
direction. Yeah, educate
In
in the
they
wrong
were they
direction.
you,
Yeah,
in my opinion, it was a misuse. That's
misuse.
what I'm
Yeah,
saying.
yeah.
Yes. So particularly, you can see it by my friend Abhijit on X. His handle is listed over here. You can see the detailed description as to what's going on here right now. So
Like downloading the offline maps of Jantar Mantar, Lutyens, North Delhi, having a directory of 54 lawyers, volunteers. So, in case you are having a detention, whom to call, which are the places, what are the phone numbers, what are missing track, pre-arranged contact list, one tap SMS, how to protect your face through facial, against facial recognition, biometrics, how
till,
to avoid
till the till the
biometrics.
extent
Yeah,
that they told the people that if you have your primary phone, keep the primary phone at home and just
get
take
another
the
phone. Yeah.
secondary phone with you, which is some backup phone if you can.
Yeah, and first aid, support aid, everything. If you get medical, how use the bilingual Hindi English. So the toolkit describes network, how to use the network, what all to download, which maps, which type of antenna to use, Bluetooth, Wi-Fi, what to do when you get the detention by the police forces, police and the government agencies, how to keep yourself private, how to hide yourself. So everything is there, how to create nuisance in a country. Yeah.
Yeah. And so this is the context. So they were talking about this, and even the hosting of these particular like toolkit or whatever was done on foreign platforms, so that it is much harder to take it down compared to let's say if it was on Indian data center, right?
Yes. And there are
Like
some operational parallels also. Like in Hong
yeah.
Kong 2019, it has been done. In Belarus 2020, Myanmar post 2021. And
So yeah.
development timeline and
Hmm.
hosting and attribution is also given. Yeah. And
So these
Jantar
are
Mantar
like
now
huh.
26.
So these are some of the like previous protests which happened in which similar quote unquote toolkits were
So,
used
yeah.
to cause nuisance for the governments over there.
So India is added into a blacklist now. Jantar Mantar, it was used in Delhi in
Yes,
2020.
yes,
This is a blacklist. Yeah. Okay.
yes, yes. And this toolkit is being developed for at least since the beginning of July, or
2000.
since some
Yeah.
time. You
So
can
planning was
anybody
done
can see.
months ago, and that is when Dipke came from US. Everything was set, all
Yes.
this was passed, and they just executed it.
Yes,
And the
I
plan
mean,
was
I will
20th.
say, like, from whatever I have understood from the public domain, is that, even if people were not working together, there was certainly an incentive to,
Without coordination, you cannot have like any military operation. Without coordination, pre-planning, all things tied up, you cannot launch a protest. And then the
yeah, yeah,
plan to go to to Parliament, march on Parliament on 20th. That was the melting of the iceberg. That is where all the problems started. Suddenly they said we are going to rush and disrupt the Parliament and take over the Parliament, whatever. So
yeah.
that is where this entire technology and the toolkit was required.
Correct.
Okay.
And then all of this came to the forefront when the founder of Twitter, Jack Dorsey, put out this statement where he had put the order of the I4C notice, which GitHub had given him, and pretty much he tried to portray that as if Indian government does not like technologies like BitChat, that's why it should be taken down. So it is not the question of like or dislike, it is what is happening in practice with those technologies or how it's being used. Like
It is the
technology is a
same with,
tool.
yes, it is same with Starlink. Like Starlink is saying that you're not allowing in India because we've got security concerns. We've got our neighbors who are not who are our adversary. So what Starlink did, it is giving in Pakistan and giving in Bangladesh. So they may use it, but somehow had it been allowed in India, it was seamless. for the anti-national elements. In the same case, see the damage it has done to Delhi and our international reputation. And you want such a application to be used by so many anti-national elements and create problems for the country. So obviously, we'll see our national security and our national image internationally. We should not be seen on the blacklist the way it has happened
Exactly.
once.
So what are the implications here, right? So we see law enforcement agencies cannot attribute this to somebody. They cannot intercept it, nor they are able to, prevent this communication,
No,
right? So this
no
is
subscriber identity, no phone number, no metadata, no traffic analysis, no way to shut down, no way to intervene, no way to find out
yeah,
who
yeah,
did it. It's like do the operation and vanish.
exactly.
Yeah.
And then there are some related ones also which were promoted by this so-called toolkit, including Briar, Bridgefy, and many of these were included in the order, right? By GitHub.
And they work similar with Bluetooth and Wi-Fi.
Yes,
So there are so
yes.
many options. It is quite a matured mesh. Actually, it was supposed to use for good causes, but the anti-national elements or these negative mindset people are using it for their own purpose and operations.
Yeah, especially this kind of decentralized platform is very useful in remote areas where there is no network.
Yes,
So
yes.
so
The
for
network infrastructure.
yes,
The technology was not created for negative or wrong purposes. The technology was created to ensure where there is no cellular or telecom infrastructure, how to create a small limited infrastructure and still be able to do things which you want to do in a positive and constructive way, not in a destructive
yes,
way why it is being used in the world.
yes, yes. So that's what it is. And then, operationally, this is what happened. So, like we saw the internet restrictions, this toolkit being, sent. And I would say the name of the toolkit, what they had given, like solidarity toolkit, as if like they are trying to sympathize with the cockroaches protesting
Yes,
at Jantar Mantar. Like
yes.
this is like nonsense. I mean, like the brand. See, the everything was fine until they started calling it solidarity toolkit because it made it sound as if that they are trying to do something negative. Okay, so that is my opinion.
Positive. Yeah. So always see all these elements who are going to create destructive issues will always name their, because they are very possessive and they are very convinced about their cause. So the name is always have to be in a way that they are motivated for the cause.
Yeah, yeah. And then so what are the different things that they have discussed, right? So overall, what we have covered today is decentralized communication, how it is used to destabilize governments, or tries to destabilize governments by actually encouraging protest and any kind of disruptions to increase. Maybe in the future, any person who is looking to do anti-national or negative things also might be considering to use this kind of technology where no central network is needed. Like this kind of stuff is very scary for the
Government
armed
agency.
services or the uniform services, because they cannot control it, and it creates more problems than actually the benefits which are appearing, in my opinion.
And the podcast we covered so that we give you an idea, because everybody has heard this BitChat and the Jantar Mantar protest, how it is linked and how the technology works, and what how some details of the toolkit. And I think this must be useful for our viewers and people who just want to understand in a very layman terms about these technologies and about these such operations and protests.
Exactly. So I think so that concludes
Yeah,
today's
that
short
winds up
podcast
our
topic.
podcast today. Yeah.
Yes.
Hope we'll come
So
again with an interesting topic again.
we
Yeah.
yeah we will do this again. So Jain.
Jai Hind.